Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out. You're listening to the Affirmation Addict podcast with Pyle Corley. This podcast will teach you about the power of affirmations while making manifestation easy and accessible for you in order to enhance your spiritual consciousness. Thank you so much for being here, and now it's time to get started. If you're looking for a space to navigate life's light and dark moments, I invite you to download my app, Affirm It. It's an app I crafted to help you create your spiritual practice because I know how hard it can be to manage your energy throughout all the different things life throws at us. So we celebrate the light and the dark. We're not asking you to be positive all the time. We're super, super raw, super real, and welcoming to all the feelings. And so inside of the app, I've created a ton of intentional features to help you with your spirituality. We have daily affirmations to help you stay consistent on your journey. We have guides, practices, and journaling to help you with the self-improvement. And we have guided meditations and visualizations to help you deepen your practice and connect to yourself. One of my favorite things that I've created for the app is actually guided affirmations. So it's something you listen to. It helps you effortlessly reprogram your limiting beliefs. So I invite you to download the app today. It's only $4.49 a month, and even less if you do our annual plan. Head to the show notes to download it on your phone today. Hello. Welcome back to the Affirmation Addict podcast. My name is Pyle, and I'm so excited to share with you today some tips on being consistent in your manifestation process and your spiritual practice. Because one of the biggest things I hear from a lot of you is, Pyle, I struggle to do my affirmations every day, or I'm struggling to meditate every day. Because when it comes down to it, the priority level should be high, but real talk, a lot of us, if we get too busy or if we have a lot going on, our spiritual practice is probably the biggest thing we skip first. It's the biggest thing we push away first. And so I want to talk to you about consistency tips, whether or not you do it for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. But I just want to give you some inspo on how to just start being consistent. And I want to dive into firstly, what a spiritual practice is. So a spiritual practice, as I've been talking a lot about my new manifestation process that I love explaining to people, it's 3 steps. It is get clear on your why, focus on your vibration, and allow yourself to receive. I break that down fully for you in a separate episode. It's also written for you in my app, completely free. You don't need a membership or anything. It's free. I've written it out for you with examples on how to actually manage your energy, how to focus on that vibration. And so for me, my spiritual practice is that step 2. It is how you focus on your vibration. It is how you're able to manage your energy when things get tough. It's how you're able to feel better when anxiety is just peeling through. It's how you're able to get super excited about your manifestation when you know exactly what you want. That is what your spiritual practice is. It's a combination of all of our favorite spiritual tools like affirmations, visualizing, scripting, surrendering, releasing, letting go. All of these things play a role and can be part of your spiritual practice. And so the best way to understand it is your spiritual practice is your way of focusing on your vibration for the day. My motto and what I'm really trying to not only implement myself, but spread awareness about and help you on your manifestation journey and on your spiritual journey is to try and commit to a spiritual practice every day. I know that sounds a lot, but hear me out. My philosophy is your spiritual practice can be as simple as like 15 seconds. It can be right when you wake up in the morning and you just pause and say, thank you. That is enough. Okay. That's all I ask is you try to do something for 15 seconds. Saying one affirmation mentally to yourself takes maybe 5 seconds. Saying one affirmation to yourself in front of the mirror takes maybe 10 seconds because there's a little bit of hesitation. So what I'm trying to explain to you is your spiritual practice is not something that has to be long and complex and drawn out. It is allowed to be a simple way to just do a quick vibe check. It is a simple way to just shift your energy a little bit. Now, realistically, will 15 seconds be enough for you to actually feel a shift in how you feel? It might be, but it might not be. And that's where you get to decide how much time you want to spend. And that's where you get to decide the amount of time it takes you to do your spiritual practice. The cool thing is that amount of time you spend can also change day by day. So some key components of your spiritual practice is honestly just being aware of all the different tools you have at your disposal. So you have affirmations, you have meditation, visualization, lots of different journaling techniques. All of these are counting as spiritual tools. Those are kind of the physical things, and the non-physical, so the things that it's more of like a practice. You have to just try and do it, but there's not like a checklist you can go through, are things like surrendering or rewiring limiting beliefs or allowing yourself to feel better or detaching yourself from the outcome. Those are more of those abstract concepts that can be part of your spiritual practice. And the most raw and unfiltered way I like to explain how I practice surrendering is in my spiritual practice. I have a minute or two where I'm just in the space and I just sit there. I don't do anything. And I'm just intentionally trying to surrender. I'm repeating maybe mentally, I am surrendering. And I try and feel into it. And it's almost a very in my mind intention, so to speak, rather than a straight up ritual where I'm like writing something I'm letting go of and burning it on a piece of paper. It's very much so like a conscious effort. It's a conscious desire to surrender that I'm sitting with. I'm sitting in the consciousness that I am trying to surrender. I'm trying to just be. I'm trying to allow. I'm trying to be okay. And I'll do that for like a minute or two, just quietly in my head, not doing anything, not writing anything, not even necessarily listening to anything. So those are the more abstract parts of your spiritual practice that it's not necessarily an action so clear like affirmations or scripting or meditating. It is more of these intentional concepts where you're just trying to spend some of your time, your attention, and your intention at that thing. So I hope that's helpful. I have a whole list inside of Affirm It for you on different ways to practice these things and different concepts you can try sending energy towards, like releasing blocks, rewiring limiting beliefs. Those are some more options over there. Okay, so now that you understand the whole point of the spiritual practice, actually, I'm not sure if I said it, so I'm just going to say it again. So my essentially long way of saying all of this is the reason I really believe a spiritual practice is important is because manifestation is all energetic, and the way you can match your energy to your desire is by managing your own energy through your spiritual practice. So it's essentially, I like to look at it as your spiritual practice is the bridge between you and your manifestation. Even if your spiritual practice isn't always focused on what you're manifesting, your spiritual practice can be focused on gratitude. Even though you might be trying to manifest $100, your spiritual practice doesn't have to be focused all around money every single day, which I think is the beauty of it that a lot of people don't notice or are aware of, is your spiritual practice doesn't have to be relevant to what you're manifesting day by day. All your spiritual practice needs to do is help you feel good in energy, help you feel better, help you feel excited, help you feel reconnected to yourself. That's the point of your spiritual practice, is to just create some space for yourself. And so when you can create that space for yourself, your energy automatically raises, your vibration is raising, and your manifestations are at a very high vibration. And that's how they can all come together and just merge and show up in your physical world. So now with that being said, here are some actual tips on how to stay consistent with your spiritual practice. And at the end, I want to explain to you the power of consistency with any of these spiritual tools from kind of a not neuroscience. I think that's a big word, and I don't think I'm very qualified in that. I read a lot of books, but I'm obviously not a neuroscientist. So from a scientific perspective and the impact it has on your brain, I will explain the power of that consistency and that repetition. Okay, so 5 tips I have for you with your spiritual practice and with getting consistent is start small. I think when we start on our manifestation journey, we get so excited and we're like, okay, I am ready. I'm going to write 100 affirmations. I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes. And I'm going to write a script and read it to myself every single night. Like, we want to do it all because we're so excited to get that result. But one thing I want to share with you is the effort, your input is not a direct correlation to what you receive. So just because you practice longer does not mean you're going to get more or get it faster. So those are not two of the same things. The biggest thing is for you to just do it. So start small. If you notice that it feels like too long of a to-do list, it feels like it's too daunting or you can't carve out the time, start with 30 seconds and build your way up. Number 2 is allow yourself to play with different tools that feel good to you. Because I think there's this misconception that you have to always say affirmations. Affirmations for me are my ride or die. They have always worked for me without fail. If I write down an affirmation, I know it's going to manifest. And for a lot of people, it's true. But maybe affirmations aren't your thing, or maybe you need a little bit of a complementary thing, right? Maybe you need affirmations plus a little bit of visualizing. So play with the different tools and explore them all. You never know what's going to come up. So don't feel like you have to restrict yourself to just one tool that you saw on my Instagram. Explore other people's tools, explore other ways. When it comes down to it, all of us are saying the same thing. We are all just trying to get each other home. We are all trying to just feel a little bit better. We're all trying to just figure our thing out. So it doesn't matter who taught you. It doesn't matter what they're teaching. The thing is play with it. Try different ways, or even if you haven't heard of it, make it your own. So experiment, because by experimenting and trying different tools, you won't feel like that redundancy if you're not enjoying it. The whole point of experimenting is to find something that you're like, oh, this actually clicks and it feels good to me. You know what I mean? Okay, tip number 3 is give yourself permission to pick one time of the day that you want to do it. I seriously and firmly believe that you can practice your spiritual practice at any point. But if you're struggling with consistency, if you're struggling with sticking to it, add it into your calendar or stick it on a sticky note and find one moment throughout your day that you do all the time anyways. So if you're a calendar person, add it into your calendar for 5 minutes. This is my spiritual practice time. Or if you always brush your teeth and you always look at your same spot in the mirror when you brush your teeth, put a sticky note there and write down a little reminder for yourself, or even write down an affirmation and let that be your trigger. Another option is maybe you make coffee every single day. Maybe you give yourself a nice cup of coffee, and right by your coffee machine or where your cups are, you have a little sticker that says, don't forget your spiritual practice, and give yourself a thing that you can associate your spiritual practice with. That is something that you already do. That's something that you already do in your daily life. Maybe it's before you go to bed and you turn off your night lamp, and on your night lamp, you have a little sticker that says spiritual practice, or you write an affirmation there, and that's your trigger to pause and do your spiritual practice. Because if you integrate it and kind of connect it to something you're doing every day, it makes it a little bit easier. So personally for me, I have it in my calendar. It's every single morning in my calendar. I block out an hour of me time. Ooh, actually, an extra tip that I don't think I've ever talked about is with iPhone, and I'm sure Android has this too, you can customize like the different do not disturbs. So you can customize the different how do not disturb is. So I made like a new do not disturb profile on my phone for me time. So every single morning it auto turns on from like, I think 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And in that me time, my social media apps are not on my homepage. The only apps that are on my homepage is Affirm It, shameless plug, of course, is Affirm It, because I use Affirm It in my spiritual practice. Being super honest, I use my guided meditations and I use those affirmations in there. So for me, I only can go into Affirm It. No other apps are available. and I don't get notifications, no text, no nothing. And the benefit now is also you can put your phone on airplane mode, because trust me, I've been there where I am blocking myself from getting distracted, but I still will find my way, find the long about way to get onto social media or get onto Instagram or check my messages or text somebody. So if you do get distracted, I put my phone on airplane mode now. And the benefit is Affirm It now can be on airplane mode. So you can listen to your affirmations, you can meditate, you can see everything in the app, even if you have no service. So that's what I've been doing ever since the new app got released. Okay, step number 4, I believe it's step number 4. Let me check. Yes. Okay. So step number 4 is give yourself permission to celebrate along the way. I think a lot of the times we're on the self-development journey. We're improving ourselves all the time. So we always look at how much better we can get. We know it can get better. We know we have potential to tap into more. But for some reason, that tapping into more still is through the lens of, oh, I'm not where I could be yet. I really want you to celebrate along the way. When you give yourself 15 minutes or you give yourself 15 seconds of gratitude, just acknowledge, take a second and be like, hey, I am proud of you for doing your spiritual practice today, and give yourself that permission to celebrate your win. I'm not necessarily saying you reward yourself. If that works for you, go for it. But I don't want you to create a shame cycle through rewards. So just celebrate, acknowledge, be proud of yourself and be like, hey, I did do it today. That's amazing. And tip number 5 is use some sort of habit tracking. This is something I was not a fan of for a really long time until the new version of the app actually had it built into it. And I was playing with it and I was like, wow, I actually love this, because when you habit track, whether it's inside of Affirm It, if it's in your own journal, however you want to habit track, when you habit track, you get to see your progress. And the biggest thing is it's not a bad thing if you don't do it. It's just observation. That's the biggest thing I like doing when I'm habit tracking is I get to see the days I did do my spiritual practice, how did I feel? And the days I didn't do my practice, how did I feel? That observation is really the key of habit tracking. Not, oh my gosh, I did it every day for 10 days. Woohoo. That's not the point to me. To me, the point is looking at the days I did do it compared to the days I didn't do it, and actually firsthand seeing that difference is so motivating. It's so inspiring, and it gives you the evidence you need to be like, wow, this actually does make me feel better. Because the thing is with spiritual practices, it is a slow process. Like, yes, you'll immediately feel a little bit better, but those bigger results that keep you motivated, right? Like receiving a manifestation or getting an unexpected check or meeting your soulmate or getting that text from a person who you've really been wanting to hear from or seeing your dream home finally. Like those types of big universal confirmations can sometimes take a little bit longer than a few days. And so the beauty of habit tracking is within a few days, even experiment. Don't do a spiritual practice today. Do one tomorrow and notice the difference. I really think it's such a game changer to firsthand see how your days are different. And it's such a beautiful way to observe. So inside of the new Affirm It, you can habit track and you can also add notes, which is what I do. So I love it because every time I do my practice, I write a note as to how I feel. And the days I don't do my practice, I go in whenever I go back in and actually log it. And I'm like, whoa, yesterday I didn't do my practice. Interesting. Yesterday was a harder day. And it almost always works out. Not 100% necessarily that I've noticed, but it almost always works out that way, that the days I do my practice, I am just better off. I'm better equipped and I feel better. So I know I made some comments about Affirm It. I never want this to feel like it's an Affirm It sales pitch. I always am trying to help you, but the way I can help you is through Affirm It. And I've seriously priced it so affordable, mainly because I feel like it's my life purpose to make this work, make manifestation, make spirituality and self-awareness accessible. And so it's $449 a month, which comes down to under 15 cents a day. So if you can do 15 seconds of your spiritual practice a day, you can invest 15 cents a day to help yourself with these spiritual tools. You are always welcome to lean on Affirm It for your spiritual practice. And that's really what it's meant for. So that's kind of the intention I wanted to share with you when it comes to spiritual practice. Give yourself permission to play. Give yourself permission to have fun. Give yourself permission to change it throughout and allow yourself to have fun with it. That's what it's about. It's not about serious and zen and calm all the time. It can be dancing your heart out. That's part of your practice if you want it to be. So I hope this episode was helpful. A quick recap of the 5 tips is start small, allow yourself to play and try different tools, celebrate along the way, try habit tracking, and off the top of my head, I don't remember the last one. Implement it into your daily routine and set up little triggers, whether it's in your calendar or something you already do. So I love you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this helps you stay consistent in your practice, because the consistency of your practice is just through the way our brain works. Like, consistency creates truth. Consistency creates belief. And the more you can create that repetition, the more your brain is like, oh, this is truth. And the things that you're practicing during your spiritual practice are things that you want to be your core beliefs. So soon you'll notice the things that you're doing in your spiritual practice just feel like they're your truth. They just feel like this is the way the world works. And it's amazing to see that shift. So I hope this was helpful, and I cannot wait to talk to you in the next episode. Bye. I always get a ton of questions in my DMs from people asking how I can manifest X. The truth is, you can really manifest anything as long as it's for the greatest good. And if you're having trouble manifesting something right now, or you feel stuck on your journey, I have a really beautiful resource I've made for you. It's a free quiz. It's called the Manifestation Archetype Quiz. And it's something that I've created so you can find out your manifestation style to give you more clarity on your spiritual journey. After taking the quiz, you're going to receive the best resources for your specific archetype to help you attract your desires based on where you're at and what you want to create. So you can find a link to the quiz in the show notes, or just head to my website at www.affirmation-addict.com. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean the world to me if you could rate and review the podcast and share it on your social media, so I know to keep creating episodes that are inspiring you to manifest. I'm so genuinely grateful for the time we shared today, and I'd love for you to join the community by following @AffirmationAddict on Instagram. To continue diving into spirituality and manifestation, head over to my website, affirmation-addict.com. Until next time, I'm sending you so much love and so much healing energy.